Oh, hello. Welcome back to another video. If you're new around here, my name's Scott and I like to make videos. Generally about tech, home, work, whatever takes my fancy really. So, how did I start my own business? Good question. From a very early age, my family and friends would always comment saying, oh, you're going to be a successful entrepreneur one day. And I never really took this on board. But the reason they said this was because I would always make up ways to earn money. So basically at my nan's, where all my family congregates every Saturday, I used to cut out pictures from the news and do like a spot the ball kind of game and charge them 20p. Take a cut and then pay the rest out in winnings, if you like. Loads and loads of little things like that. And I would do this to save up money over the year for our holiday to the New Forest in Bashley Park. Bashley Park. Amazing. I love Bashley Park. I think I knew early on that I wanted to have my own business and be my own boss because I always wanted to own and run my own hotel, and I have no idea where that came from. But whilst I was at university, my brother managed and ran a hotel/restaurant, and I saw a huge amount of hours and effort that he put into this for very, very little reward. And that kind of opened my eyes a bit and kind of dropped the idea of owning a hotel. And whilst at university in my year out, I became a lot more technical. I played with servers and websites and I really started to enjoy it. So basically my whole outlook kind of flipped and changed because of that. So for those who don't know me, I own and run it's successful, it's doing well, we don't have any issues, small IT business. There are 5 of us at Vox IT, and we help look after, manage and support all of our clients' IT requirements. Before this, I worked for a business-to-business internet service provider, an ISP. And basically what they did is they would provide internet and network services to business customers. And then my role was network operations. There was a team of 3 of us. And I also did a lot of technical pre-sales. So I'd go to site and present solutions and talk to users all the way up through users, managers to directors level where I'd pitch ideas and solutions. I was then fortunate enough to go back to my desk and build those solutions that I had been pitching. So I was lucky enough to get a wide range of experience at every level of the business. And I really, really enjoyed this. I was working at the ISP for around 18 months. So how did I go from working for an ISP and really enjoying my job and love the people I work with to running my own limited company? I was, and actually I still am, a very kind of enthusiastic, motivated individual. I'm always trying to progress personally as well as professionally. And as I say, I was at this company, which was a very large, commercially large company. It had some very, very big clients like Specsavers, Clinton Cards, and some very large brewery groups. But the problem was they were just a small team. There was a small personnel compared to the large clients. There were maybe only 15, 20 people max in the business. So having worked my knackers off for kind of 12 to 18 months pitching and winning business for these big clients, I had a review meeting with my IT director, who is a lovely, lovely, lovely guy. I admire him and love him to bits. He was so, so good to me. And I have to say that because he watches these videos. You know who you are. But basically, he confirmed what I was already thinking in my background, and that was, in order to progress my career further, someone in my team would need to leave because it was such a small team. If I wanted to become a team leader or a manager, that would mean someone needing to leave, which I didn't want them to do because I really like my team. But also, I didn't see that happening anytime soon. So I kind of was at a cap. I couldn't progress further, but I wanted to. So what would I do next? So, having been told that I'm doing a really good job, they really like me, but there's nowhere for me personally to grow to, as well as seeing a younger guy recently leave and set up his own web design business, I thought to myself, that's something I've always wanted to do, so why don't I just do it? So what I did was I started in the evenings and weekends, ensuring there was no conflict of interest at all, because I'm quite a moral person, I started to build up my own private client base, just doing basic IT jobs, and primarily at the time building a lot of websites, with the idea that I would build this up in my personal time to enough so that when I left my job, I would have some kind of income, because I didn't need a lot of money at that stage. I was literally relatively fresh out of university and had no large financial commitments. So if this didn't work, the backup plan was to just go and get another job. Simple, really. Okay, so I'm still employed at this stage and still working my knackers off at work. And then coming home and working pretty much every evening and weekend. How Lisa put up with me, I do not know. But also during this period, I was setting up my own limited company, which I did directly with Companies House. Nowadays, you could just literally buy a company and change the name relatively easily. But I was fresh out of university. I knew what to do to set up my own company, so I did. And at this time, I also applied for my VAT registration and also set up some business bank accounts. So I was pretty much ready to go. The only thing that was stopping me was money. I literally had no savings, no bank of mummy or daddy. As I said, I was fresh out of university, so I literally had zero credit history and no bank would give me any money at all. And this kind of risk of leaving a job with no money was too much for me. I didn't want to take the risk, but I'd set up the company, I got the bank account, I got these clients ready. So what was I going to do? I should also say at this point that I decided to set myself up as an LTD rather than just a sole trader because of the limited liability. And basically all that means, if you're set up as a sole trader, you're personally responsible for everything. So if you get in financial trouble or debt, you personally have to sort that out. They can come knocking your door for your assets, your house. Whereas with a limited company, a private limited company in the UK, you're just limited to the liability that you put into that business, or rather the investment that you put into that business. But as I just said, I didn't have any investment. I didn't have any money to put into that business. So what did I do? I decided to approach my uncle. I presented him with my business plan, my cash flow forecast, where I saw things going over what period of time, and I offered him a stake in my business. I offered him a percentage of my shares for a £5,000 investment. £5,000 was enough to buy some equipment I needed and keep me paying my bills for a few months. To be fair, I could have approached my uncle, and to be honest, he probably would have just loaned me the money anyway, but I thought it only fair if he to invest in me, if he were to support me and see potential in me. I thought it only fair that he should get some reward for that. So I sold a percentage of my business to my uncle for £5,000. So that was it. That was it. I had a limited company, a bank account, I had clients built up, I had the systems I needed, and I had some money to pay my bills. So all that was left to do was hand my notice in. And that is exactly what I've done. And who would have known? As soon as I left employment, it was like the floodgates had opened, because every contact or everyone I'd spoken to or been in touch with over the previous 2 or 3 years suddenly started to contact me. It was like they were eager to give me work, which was great. The floodgates opened, I'd start my own business and I had a ton of work. What more could I have wanted? It did mean that I was literally working my knackers off every hour God sends, Monday to Sunday, 365 days a year, but it was great. I was even contracting back to my original employer, the ISP, so getting to go to the office and see the guys that I'd previously worked with, but doing so as being my own boss. It was brilliant, I loved it. So to begin with, I started to offer my services, which were anything IT or web related, I would take on board, I would do, because I had bills to pay. I had a mortgage at the time, so I had to get that money in. It didn't matter what it was, I would do it or find a way of doing it, which in hindsight, maybe I should have niched and kind of specialised and became an expert in one particular thing, but I didn't at the time. I needed to get all of that dosh in because I had bills to pay, I had to survive. Also, in hindsight, I really do think now I undersold myself, undervalued myself. My rates were extremely cheap in comparison, and that was because the fear of loss, the fear of risking, charging too much and then not winning the client. If I charge them too much money, I'm going to lose them, they're going to go elsewhere. I really wish I had valued myself a little bit more and been a lot more confident, because it kind of bit me in the bum. I went into a pitch, I was up against a guy, and no disrespect to the guy, I knew I could do the job much, much better than him. I had much more experience. But because he was confident and presented that, but also backed up that confidence with a much higher quote for the job, he won it. Yeah, that's right, he went in, charged more and won the job because the client perceived his confidence and him charging more, meaning that he should be able to do a better job, which wasn't the case. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn, and it's something I still struggle with and is always in the back of my mind now, that if we do price something at our worth, are we potentially going to lose it? And that's something that I still juggle with and balance with to this very day. Looking back, I was very fortunate because I had a really, really good first 12 to 18 months as running my own business. I was constantly busy. I had sometimes too much work. I'd built up a nice cash reserve in the bank, so should business have dried up or I'd got quiet or I needed some kit, the money was there to do it. And I was also able to pay my uncle a small initial dividend for his support, so things were going really well. But I was working incredibly hard and working every hour God sent. So I'm still very fortunate to this day to have plenty of work, a cash buffer, a team who I work with and love, and a bunch of clients who I really, really like and really, really get on with. I'm very, very fortunate. And that's it, basically. That's how I set up my own IT business. Now that is just a very small part of the story, because after the first 18 months, what happened next was very good in a way, but also it was one of the biggest mistakes that I have made in my business life. One that is hard not to regret. And if this is something that you're interested to hear about, let me know in the comments box below, along with any other comments, questions, or feedback. Don't forget to like the video, and please do subscribe if you're not already, because it really does help me out. And I hope you enjoyed this video in the office study surrounding at home, because I haven't filmed here for a while. If you did, then like. Anyway, until next time, I am going to crack on with some work, and I'll see you in the next video. As always, goodbye, Internet.
Throw this shade on me, like they all hate on me. Don't bring that rage on me. Why they throwing shade on me, like they ashamed of